Good morning everyone, and thanks for tuning into today's video. So as you can see here, I have a Chevy Avalanche. This is going to be with the Vortex 5.3. Now today what I'm doing for the customer here is replacing the inner and outer tie rods. So before we dive right in, always make sure that you have your vehicle safely supported. As you see, I have two jack stands on each side, and along with my jack supporting just a little bit of that weight as well, just for extra support in case one of the two happen to fail. Alright, now first things first, here we're going to go ahead and remove the wheel hubcap here. Just use a 21. This here is a deep socket. Now obviously I already had this removed just to make the video a little bit easier. Now the Milwaukee M12 that I have was struggling a little bit, so I ended up using a deep socket here, and then switching over to a stubby short socket, which handled the rest no problem. So with the tire removed, we are now going to place this one under the vehicle, because you never know, safety is the most important thing. Now here I have a 21mm socket, and we're going to start removing this outer tie rod here. So as you see, I put the Milwaukee down here at the bottom just to break the that nut there loose. Once it's loose, we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of PB Blaster penetrating fluid just to make this process a little easier from separating the outer tie rod from the knuckle here. So you see, I'm banging it pretty hard. If I had a much heavier hammer, this would have came out a lot easier. But as you see, just a few taps and it comes right out. Now what I end up doing here is putting it back now that we have it loose, and I'll show you why here shortly. Again, some PB Blaster down at the jam nut. Now let's move right on in. Okay, so here at the jam nut, you can see that wet spot where I'm going to place this adjustable wrench. So I'm holding the wrench and tension, and you can see I break it pretty easily. Then from there, you just remove the nut from the outer tie rod. We're going to lift this up and out. Now get this as straight as you can, like I do here, and then it's the counting. So every revolution that you do vertically is one revolution. Make sure you count those and write those down, and then just remove the jam nut. You'll see here that I removed the there's that little clamp there holding the bellow boot. Then back here was a zip tie, so I just kind of pulled it all off together. Bellow boot came right off. Now I am using a special tool here. This is going to be a Maddox from Harbor Freight. This is the inner tie rod removal kit. You'll see here that I end up showing you which size I end up using, which is a 1.5. So I basically just put that on from the back side, and then I'll slide the actual removal tool in and over, and then I'll end up locking it here shortly. You will see that. And these tools are not necessary, however guys, they make the job a lot easier, just having the right tools. So you can see I'm just kind of fidangling with it a little bit, and I'm switching over to a 40mm, as you saw right there, and then I was able to finally break it loose after some finessing. So you see the outer tie rod, or the inner tie rod, came right out, and now we're putting the new one in. It's basically at this point the exact same process, just reversed. This is going to be the 1.5. We'll go ahead and get that inner tie rod removal tool in, because obviously it's also an installation tool. And then we'll use a torque wrench here, because you know we've already tightened it up at this point. We'll put it on and torque it to specs. I will link the torque specs here in the beginning of the video. You will see that. So if you always want to reference it, you can go back. Now I'm putting the bellow boot back on. The new inner tie rod comes with a few pieces of hardware, which would include a metal zip tie. However, that one was pretty flimsy, so I ended up going just back to a heavy duty zip tie here that you can see. Simping that right off. And then we'll go ahead and put the clamp back on, the jam nut, new jam nut, and then the new outer tie rod, which is getting spun on. So let's just say your outer tie rod took 16 spins to come off. You want to put it back on 16 spins exactly. That'll help you keep your alignment, otherwise your alignment will be off. Now here you can see I'm just putting the adjustable wrench back on. I will be holding it again with the hammer to get it nice and tight. And then from there we just go ahead and put on the nut for the outer tie rod. We have a greasable fitting now. That's an 8mm. And then you can see here we're just going to go ahead and retorque it with the torque wrench. And again, these are all going to be listed in the beginning of the video. Pretty simple job, guys. Then we just put the tire back on. With the hubcap. And don't over tighten these. Just literally just get them to where they lock on, and that's it. That's all you need. So as you can see, I don't even want to use my power tool here, the Milwaukee M12. I'm just going to go ahead and tighten these by hand. And then after that, we're on to the next side. So let's take these off here. Out she goes. Same thing here. Now you can see the Milwaukee was struggling a little bit. This is with the full battery. I've tried 2 different batteries. And I'm not going to lie, guys. Either these things were really torqued on by an air ratchet or something, but man, those things are on there. Alright, so here we go. Now we're going to remove that jam nut on the opposite side. You can see this one also has a greasable fitting on that outer tie rod. However, this one was the one that was torn, so we're just going to replace it anyway. Again, jam nut, make sure that comes off too before you do anything else. There we go. Up and out. Just cleaned up a little bit here, and then again, count your revolutions. Okay, and then take off your jam nut, and then it's like the other side, guys. We're gonna remove that clamp there holding the bellow boot, and then from there we're gonna go ahead and remove that bellow boot tie from the inner tie rod. You can see this one just came right off. I mean, it was easy. Didn't even have to do anything, just sit right off, pried it up there. And so I tried using the special tool that I ended up having, that Maddox inner tie rod removal tool. However, it was not working at all, and so I had to end up using a different tie rod removal tool where this one actually clamps on, and for some reason it worked just really well. It worked a lot better. So once you get that off, guys, go ahead and clean the inside, just kind of like what you saw me doing there. Obviously put the new one back on, and then we're gonna go ahead and tighten this up with that tool, that Maddox tool. Again, it's a 1.5. We'll slide that tool over, get it in place, we'll lock it, and then it's from there it's just time to start tightening it up. We're gonna get it torqued here shortly. So once it's all nice and tight, get your torque wrench on there. As you can see, I'm using an additional jack stand that I have just to kind of hold it in place. Once it's torqued to spec, go ahead and slide your zip tie on over, just like so. And then put that clamp on. Don't forget that clamp. This here just helps keep all the dirt and debris out of the inner tie rod. You obviously don't want any dirt and stuff like that in there. Okay, we got that jam nut. Now the outer tie rod, it's going right in. Again, the same amount of turns you took to take it off is the same amount of turns you can do to put it back on. Okay, lock it here with the nut that came with the outer tie rod. After that, you can see I torque it, and then from here, this is where I lock that jam nut officially. Give it a good wax. There we go. After that, guys, go ahead and just tighten up the grease fitting here. These already came pre-greased, so I didn't have to grease them. Now you just put on the tire, torque your wheels. Once the vehicle's on the ground, of course. And then after that, guys, don't forget to put the plastic hub back on, and we are all done. Thanks again, guys, for watching this video. If you have any questions, please comment them down below. Until then, I will see you on the next one. Peace.